Hi, this is Doug and Brad with the Darksliders podcast.
Hey everyone.
So this week, probably going to be a big episode. We don't really know how long our episodes are really going to be until we do them, but we're going to be covering PSX and the Game Awards this episode. So sit tight. This could be a long one,
Or really short.
or really short. Yeah, we don't know. It just depends because a
We
lot.
kind of just make this up.
We really do. We really, really do. I don't know if people know this, but like our outlines are literally just like the topic title. Like, okay, well, for our first game we're going to talk about is Bound, and literally our outline just says Bound.
No, it says platformer underneath it.
Yeah. So I guess before we get into PSX and Game Awards, we're going to talk a little bit about the announcements that came out sort of before PSX. They'd been we talked about this last episode. Sony Santa Monica had been teasing a game where it's just like the
The
ballerina
foot.
feet. Yeah, the foot. There was a ballerina foot. So they actually finally did announce that game, and that game was Bound, not Goddess of War, as I had maybe.
You were
Kind of.
close. You were close.
Yeah. So Bound is a this game is really hard to explain. I would just advise people watching the trailer.
Yeah, I really don't know what this is. You're a dancer,
Yeah, you're
and it
actually
looks pretty.
this the plot synopsis is really strange. Like you play a pregnant woman, and this is like her thoughts and insecurities of having a child, and she was also a ballerina when she was younger, and her mom didn't want her to become a ballerina, so this is like her like in her like being that, and you fight her doubts. It's really strange. Doesn't matter. Looks pretty. Looks really
In
cool.
other words, a story you'll never pick out from this, just like every other one of these like weird indie Santa Monica games. 'Cause I feel like they're all like, there's this super deep story. It's like, nah, I'm a flower.
Oh
Flower
yeah.
petals chase me. Nah, I'm a dude with a scarf, and I'm trying to get to some mountain.
Which is okay. I mean, that's fine. Like, I think that's. I mean, this game, it's such like an like the fact that I was like arena is like this trailer did not indicate this story at all, but it looks really
Nope.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
I am a little nervous. It's by the guys who did Datura, and if you're like, what's Datura? Maybe you also know what Linger in the Shadows is. Either way, they're not really high. They're not really gameplay centric games. These guys came from something called the demo scene. And the demo scene is basically creating tech demos on older hardware to make like basically old hardware do like really pretty things. So they're not really used to doing a lot of like gameplay heavy centered games. So while they kind of saying that, oh, this is a platformer game, there's going to be some action combat and stuff. I'm expecting this is going to be more of those kind of like walking around games and with like really really light combat.
But to be fair, I feel like normally when Santa Monica acquires these studios, because they do this a lot,
Yeah.
they normally come in and help with development. So maybe with this game, they came in and helped with the gameplay side of development to really give them a good gameplay foundation as opposed to coming in and really upping their engine or their physics based stuff. This one they focused on gameplay. How can we turn your game that's already really pretty, already has this deep and interesting story into something that plays well.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm really curious. I was kind of disappointed with the gameplay trailer. While it looked really cool, like I don't know if I saw gameplay. Like I know it was like all in real time, but I was like I could not. You can't tell what you're doing from the trailer.
Yeah,
It just looks
yeah,
pretty damn cool.
yep.
um. All right, so moving into PSX. PSX. What? Just to start with PSX. What was your overall impression? Before don't just say like one word. What was your overall? I know what you're gonna say. Your overall impression of PSX.
I was not overly impressed. There was not much to this, though. Looking through our list of games that showed up, there's
Mm-hmm.
only one or two that I'm really, really interested in. Those really, nothing new that really blew my mind came from those, with one, maybe two exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I think I mentioned this to you, I really feel like Game Awards tanked this thing. Because Game Awards, I feel like, had much bigger announcements and had much more third party support, where these were all pretty much Sony first party things, which is normally I feel like what they're using PSX for. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Game Awards was so big and had so many good things that it took away some of the momentum that this thing could have had just because that was 2 days earlier.
Yeah, I kind of feel what you're saying, but actually, when you say this was like a Sony first party show, there was not a lot of Sony first parties there.
Like what?
There was just Naughty Dog. There was Naughty Dog And I guess Insomniac's not really a first party studio, but besides Naughty Dog
Okay,
with
I
Uncharted.
guess I misspoke. I guess not Sony first party. I more meant Sony exclusive. All of the, these were all exclusive Sony games.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Whereas, yeah, I mean, obviously, because yeah, looking through this list, they've got all the indies and all that stuff, and the VR stuff, and Level
Hmm.
5, and all those guys in there. But the more big name games that will be coming to multiple things, I feel like all focused in on or on Game Awards.
Yeah, and I felt like kind of like the stuff with PSX. What I kind of felt was like they started really really strong with like holy crap. We'll get that. We'll actually start talking about this right after this. I felt like they started really really strong. But then like kind of after it sort of coasted on like I guess I'm gonna call them blip announcements like ooh that's neat, ooh that's neat, ooh not that like
Yeah,
holy shit, because it's kind of weird like kind of some of the studios I expected to show up like Sony Santa Monica just wasn't there like that's what they came to show Bound. They didn't come to show God of War. Sucker Punch wasn't there. I mean, I don't know what Sucker Punch is doing.
well, and a lot of their big games that are coming next year had no presence at all. There was no Horizon. There was not,
No Last
there were a
Guardian.
couple. What?
No Last Guardian.
No Last Guardian. A lot of those games aren't there. And I think when you really look at this, I mean, they pretty much knocked out Uncharted Final Fantasy VII in the first, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
And then you got to VR, PS2 classics, Ratchet and Clank, but that was just new gameplay. It was
Mm-hmm.
stuff we've more or less already seen. Destiny, and the only big thing that really came after the first 2 minutes, in my opinion, was Nino no Kuni 2, which is a very limited audience that's a big thing for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Let's start get into it. I think we were both kind of. I I wasn't disappointed, but I thought that. Well, we'll talk about what I thought was going to happen. So first, starting Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 looks crazy. I don't know.
Phenomenal.
There's not a lot. I when I saw that trailer, actually, this is gonna sound kind of fanboyish, but like when it first started, like the trailer first started, at least the Game Awards one, I kind of saw. I was like, oh, why are they doing a live action? Oh my god! like, like there's I don't know the scene the one they showed the Game Awards was what was that character's name? Oh, it's a new character. I don't remember her name, but she opens the door, and like the second she opened the door, I was like, "Oh, why are they doing this? Is a weird live action thing." It like didn't dawn on me. Like I, for like a second, I was like, "Whoa, that wasn't live action."
See, and it took me a second because I went, "Who the? Oh shit, is that Nathan? Oh god, that's Nathan Drake."
Yeah.
Like, what is this? This is. Oh wait, no, he's just wow. They did a really good job with that.
Yeah, I thought their whole Uncharted 4 showing was really interesting because they didn't show any gameplay. This stuff was real time. Clearly, it was like cinema. It was just cinematics, though. It kind of although I will say the one thing that is if you actually watch the stream of the PSX presentation as well, people started cheering when this happened because it's just Drake explained to his brother, and his brother asked him, it's like, oh, what did you do? And then the little choice menu pops
Oh, the
up.
yeah,
I was like, whoa.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's interesting, and maybe they're trying to take Uncharted in a different direction because this is very story centric things. It's about his
Mhm.
long lost brother, and he's engaged, and there's all these major story elements, and you don't have that big like I'm going to El Dorado like you had in the other
Yeah.
ones, where it's this big quest, this Indiana Jones style adventure. Now it's much more. It seems subdued and more of this personal story, and I feel like they
Mhm.
tried to really. They're what they're showing. It makes me feel like they're really going for more of a story aspect on this, as opposed to the big over the top gameplay that we've seen before.
That's true. I think they kind of feel like people know what Uncharted is going to play,
Yeah,
or at least trying to keep that under wraps. I think people trust them enough. They're like, yeah, Uncharted, it's gonna have good Uncharted gameplay, and we don't really want to see those big, bombastic moments. Like that's kind of what the Uncharted series, like kind of like they'll lead up to these big scenes. They're trying to keep that hidden. So I thought it was kind of interesting that they just showed these sort of like kind of small vignettes of characters talking. But really, my only impression from it was like, oh, that looks really, really cool. I don't know how it plays or anything. I guess it's just going to be another Uncharted with a kind of a neat story.
yeah. I don't know. It didn't. I don't think it got me excited. It made me impressed, but I don't think it changed my excitement level for this at all. I'm not more or less excited about Uncharted. It was just kind of like okay, yep, that's gonna be pretty. That's gonna be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play that.
Yeah, actually, when I saw it, I was kind of worried about The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 1 was already like was a little too intense for me, and I don't think I'm going to be able to play The Last of Us. If The Last of Us 2 has that level of graphics, I'm not going to play The Last of Us 2. Like I can't imagine that level of like graphics and being violent and being
With
like
yeah,
huh?
yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
And so it's kind of like, ugh, I don't know about this. So okay, yeah, I kind of agree with you on the chart. It's like, oh, that was neat. Not really excited too. And then I can't. I don't know why the hell he did this. I can't. I cannot believe he did this. So then the president of Sony Computer Entertainment America walks out on stage wearing a Crash Bandicoot shirt. Does it? Okay. So
See, I missed the first 15 minutes of this, so you're just like, he came out. I completely missed this. He came out in a Crash shirt, and I went, "That's weird. What do you mean?" Like, no, no, no. This guy just came out on stage in a Crash Bandicoot shirt and didn't say a word about it,
no, he didn't.
which is the worst
Yeah.
possible thing you could possibly do.
The thing is, like, I get what he was doing because he did something similar a while ago where he was wearing a Vib Ribbon shirt and he didn't mention it, and suddenly everyone's like, "Where's Vib Ribbon? Where's Vib Ribbon?" And then they released Vib Ribbon later. But this time I just felt like he was like straight up trolling. And it wasn't. I didn't think he was trolling. I thought he was just like, "Oh wow, they're gonna announce." I was just like, "They're gonna announce Crash Bandicoot. That's
Yeah.
what's going to happen."
Well, and especially like the way that like the ending thing kind of happened, where it's like, "Oh yeah, we've got one more video for you," and it ended up being just like a montage video.
Yeah.
But knowing that he started with his Crash Bandicoot shirt, and they're like, everybody loves one more video,
Yeah. Well,
and it's like, oh, it's just a montage. And it's like, oh, where Crash?
I thought for sure the final game. Well, we'll get it when we get there. I thought for sure because of his shirt. Excuse me. We were going to see Crash Bandicoot in some form, and I thought it was going to be like that one last thing, and it just wasn't.
Yeah,
That's and honestly, like I think that's kind of what set my temperament for the PSX thing. I was like, you know, these are kind of cool little announcements, but if they end on Crash, that will make this a great conference. And then they just kind of non-ending.
petered out. Yeah,
But before we get to the non-ending, this was no, I don't think people were expecting. I wasn't expecting this. They showed Final Fantasy VII remake. They showed the actual game running with combat.
yeah,
Blew my.
yep. That was impressive. That was so impressive. Like, just wow.
I I don't know how I feel. I'm not a huge Final Fantasy. You're kind of a new Final Fantasy VII fan.
Yeah.
I played it a while back, but I was like watching this trailer, and I was just my first thought was like, wow, this is so amazing, this is so cool. And then I realized like, crap, this is gonna be Versus 13 again. I can't get excited for this. This is just never going to come
What do you
out.
mean?
Like Versus 13 was probably
See, but do they have gameplay this early for Versus 13?
they have shown. Okay, that's no, they did not. But they do. There is gameplay of Versus 13 floating around. Like you can find Versus 13 gameplay.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure like somewhere from internal sources, but I don't feel like they ever publicly showed off it Versus
Oh no, they
13
did.
gameplay.
They did. They
They
absolutely
did?
did. Yeah, a few times. So when I saw it, I was like, it actually looks a lot like Versus 13, which has me really excited for it. And yeah, oh yeah. So the combat, there's it's not turn based. What's your opinion on this?
I I'm in the middle. I It's one of those like necessary evils at this point. I know I'm one of the few people who is all about turn-based combat at this point still. Like I
Yeah,
love my clicking through my menus, but I think if it's done well, that's fine. And I mean, there obviously was no huge description of the combat system, so maybe it's just a more cinematic camera angles, maybe it's just bigger, flashier action scenes, maybe it's just okay, now you control kind of the movement of a character in there.
yeah,
Until I get the specifics, I don't want to overreact to this and go like, "Oh, you're killing it. What are you doing?" But
hmm
I mean, they announced enough that they're going to be changing enough about this that I don't think it should be a surprise that the gameplay is getting a pretty big overhaul because that was classic, 90s style turn-based combat
hmm
at its peak.
yeah, yeah. I'm in the camp that I wish Final Fantasy VII was like just. I just wish they just like rip off Kingdom Hearts combat and just
Yeah.
make it
Oh
Kingdom
yeah.
Hearts. Like I would love that, and I know there's a lot of people who would not like that. I respect that. I understand why they wouldn't like that because it is a turn based game. But I'm afraid, and this is exactly what happened with Final Fantasy 15, was like my worst fear came true, is that they're going to try to satiate both by making a poor turn-based game and a poor action game.
Yeah. One of those kind of, well, we want to be in the middle. We don't want to piss off the old fans who are coming back to this as a way to replay the classic game, but we don't want to turn down people who are under the age of 20 who are not used to this turn-based system.
Yeah,
So we'll give them a shitty thing in the middle.
yeah, and I kind of feel like designing combat in order to like satiate an audience as opposed to just make a good combat system just kind of feels weird and bad. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what Final Fantasy 15 kind of feels and looks like right now. Besides that, looks cool. I think I'm glad that people were excited by the look. It looks kind of like the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, kind of a split
Very
off of
similar.
that, which I don't mind. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I thought it looked real well.
I just feel like we're never gonna see this game. I don't think we're gonna see this game for at least 3 or 4 years.
Have they dated it yet? I don't know if they.
No, 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 no.
I'd say I don't think so, but
I mean, think about Final Fantasy 15 isn't coming out till the end of 2016
16.
in
I could see
theory.
this being 17 would be my guess. 2000 end of 2017.
I even push it into 18 or something like that. I was surprised that they had gameplay at all. So I guess they might be farther than anybody
And
really knows.
they announced it what? It was E3 this year that they announced it. So that was going on 6 months ago.
Hmm.
And you figured they probably who knows how long they had this sitting in a back room being worked on.
That's
I
true.
mean, this
Yeah,
could be 4 years into development at this point. It could be a year into development. We don't have any clue.
yeah. And it looks,
Publicly, it's only existed for 6 months, but internal, who knows?
and I'm sure they have a lot of Versus 13 assets sort of sitting around that didn't get into Final Fantasy 15, but might work for Final Fantasy 7 remake.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know when they showed this, but they did show a new trailer for the show.
Yep.
You're a fan. Do you play the show?
I'm like bi yearly on that.
Okay. It's,
I haven't got any for PS4 yet, so I'm considering it for next year. But
mhm.
I don't know. It looked pretty. That's about as much as you can say about it.
Yeah, it's like they make the best baseball. It's like one of those ones where like they don't. It's really weird. They don't even have like a monopoly over it. It's just nobody has like enough investment to try to make a better baseball game than the show.
Well, I mean, they don't have a monopoly on it because the 2K franchise stopped like 2 years ago just because nobody bought it. I just don't think there's that big of an audience for baseball to exist in multiple franchises.
Oh, I could see that.
And
Yeah.
at this point, if you really look at sports games, the NFL is the only one I believe still has the exclusive license with anybody with
Mhm.
Madden, but NBA Live pretty much is going under again for like the fourth time because it's just everybody at this point knows NBA 2K is superior to NBA Live.
Yeah, I think.
There was NHL 2K. The EA NHL franchise ended up outselling and outplaying that game more or less for the majority of the time. Their early 2000s, they were a bit more equal, but the NHL franchise eclipsed it. The other one stopped selling because it wasn't getting as good as scores. It wasn't doing as well, so that's just gone now. So it kind of turns out that you really only need one sports game per franchise. The only thing I can think of is I feel like if Madden didn't have that NFL monopoly, I feel like there's enough football fans out there where, especially in America, that you could possibly make a second NFL game.
That's true.
Soccer does it with what is it, Pro
PES.
Evolution Soccer and FIFA.
Yeah,
And again, but that's such a huge audience, similar to in America what football would be worldwide. That soccer thing is the same thing. So I just think it's, you know what, 50% of the audience has the show,
mhm.
and there's not enough demand for it on Xbox that we can justify spending the money on it.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I actually didn't really think about it like that. It's just like I feel like people are like, oh, there needs to be some competition with Madden, but nobody's really complaining about the show. It's like the show's pretty good. It's a good baseball game, and that's pretty much anybody
Yeah,
says.
I mean, the same thing with NHL and NBA. There's really no competition. It's just they make a damn good game, so let's go with it.
Yeah, yeah. So this next announcement was this is kind of like the Trackmania announcement, like my game of show was
They put something on I like.
yeah. So first of all, they announced that Yakuza 5 is coming out on Tuesday. So that's next week from now. Which is cool, but it was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago. So whatever. Not really mad about
Close
it.
enough.
But 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 they announced Yakuza 0. Oh, oh. Okay, so
Really?
I'm like Brad's already shaking his head. I'm a recent fan of the Yakuza series. Really, really like it. I'll definitely come up with.
Meaning that you've played one game.
Well, yeah, it was a really good game.
It's like me going, "Oh, I'm such a huge Rocket League fan. Every Rocket League game ever is the greatest."
Well, yeah, but it'd be like playing like Rocket League 5 as opposed to like Rocket League 2, which it kind of is. Um, but yeah, they announced Yakuza 0 is coming. Yakuza 0 is a really, really neat idea for a game. It's the Yakuza series, but it's like the main character. It's a prequel to the series, and it's set in the 1980s. So I kind of like the Yakuza series as this like transportation to what Japan might like to Japan. Like I've just never been to Japan, so it's kind of this cool cultural thing. Kind of like we talked about Persona. Like Persona's like you're like in Japan. You see a lot of cool Japanese culture stuff you wouldn't really necessarily understand or know about otherwise. So like I don't know a lot about Japan. I definitely don't know anything about Japan in the 1980s. So I just think it's like a really interesting concept. And they also have an arcade then they have like maybe 8 full arcade games. Like, oh, what the heck what are some of the Sega arcade games from like the 80s? Like they're in this.
Oh, like what was it, Outrun?
Yeah, like they have.
Uh, yeah, I can't think of the other ones.
I can't think of the other ones either, which is really embarrassing. But they have like 5 or 6 full arcade games, and then they got a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. I was super excited because I wasn't nobody was really expecting it to come to the West, and it's the first PS4 game for the Yakuza series, and it just looks really pretty. It looks a lot of fun. So I'm just a big fan of Yakuza. Maybe I'll get burned out after a while because they're pretty similar from what I understand. But I will be talking about Yakuza 5 next week for sure.
Woohoo!
Hey.
I played Yakuza 4 for 2 hours.
I can't believe. God damn, that game's so good. What is wrong with you?
A lot's wrong with me.
All right. So there's kind of some smaller announcements. This is kind of just an overall we want to talk about is the Play It Now. I think this is a cool thing that they. I don't know if Sony started this. I feel like Sony might have been one of the guys that started this, but they've done this a few times.
In my mind, PT was the first.
PT was probably the first big one. Like I feel like they might have done this before, but yeah, PT was like I think PT got people like we should probably do this for conferences, which is the you can play it now. Like they announce something and you can play it now or next week or in the future.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool. Some of the games they announced were Fat Princess Adventures, which is kind of like a Diablo hack and slash. Haven't heard a lot about it. Heard it's pretty good. Fat Princess fans aren't too happy because Fat Princess is like a
Strategy.
multiplayer strategy game, and this is kind of a hack and slash game. But everything I've heard about, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Now they also did some indies: Nuclear Throne, Guns Up, Dead Star. They also this is so funny. The Final Fantasy VII port came out. The Final Fantasy VII port was announced like exactly a year ago, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Because wasn't that at the first PSX like, and a game you've always been dreaming of, and then they put that up, and everybody goes, "That's not what we wanted."
No, exactly. And I'm thinking that's what they're doing with the Crash Bandicoot shirt. Like I'm pretty sure they was like, we need a repeat of last year when we trolled the whole audience, and then we announced it at E3. Like I think that's what the Crash Bandicoot shirt's about. So
Getting your hopes up.
yeah. So those are kind of neat. And then they also had some Destiny racing mode thing, which looked kind of fun. I don't play Destiny, but I feel like if I play Destiny, I don't know. I think I said this to Brad. Destiny seems really cool for people who play Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, I played through the campaign and I could never get into it. I don't know why, but it seems like one of those games that if you're really into, they do enough really cool stuff with it that the game came out like a year and a half ago now.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, 2 years. That's a year and a half, 2 years. That still has a huge base to it, and I mean, it just seems like one of those games that is similar to like WoW in that it has that really big audience that just sticks with it through whatever they're going to release and gets excited about everything that they're going to release. So it's not something I'm super into, but it's cool that it's not seeing sequels already, and instead of seeing sequels, we're seeing expansions and just random new free stuff thrown in, as opposed to okay, here's Destiny 2 a year later, and here's Destiny 3 the next year.
Yeah, it's kind of like I do think I can see what you're saying with like it's like the expansion pack up. It's like exactly like MMOs, like the however many expansion packs WoW has. Like I think they have like 8 or something like that. So
yeah,
I think
and you're getting patches instead of DLC map packs. They're patching in things, and I don't know. It just seems like they're doing it right, which is cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So one of the other announcements, this came out a little bit before PSX, where we kind of threw in this Play It Now because it kind of came out around the same time. PS2 games on PS4, and I feel like the worst case scenario happened with these, like the absolute worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario would be like, oh, I don't know, you can't play your PS2 classics you've already bought, the discs don't work, and the games would be expensive.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we actually specifically talked about this an episode or two ago. Like, what's the price point for these? And I think we both went $10. I'd buy a ton of them.
Yeah,
15, probably not going to buy any. And sure enough, $15 a game.
Yeah, it was really funny because when they announced this for $15, I bought Tales from the Borderlands and Life is Strange for $15 combined. Like, and I was just thinking, as like, I mean, Twisted Metal Black was fun. Dark Cloud was like kind of fun for its time, but I'd rather just get new games for these. And we played these games, a few of these games. Yeah, so I guess.
And to me, I can go on, I can find these in any like used game store for some of these between like $2 and $10 for some of these. Dark Cloud and War of the Monsters would be much more expensive, but a couple of these other ones you can find for $5-10 if you still have a PS2 laying around. Now, granted, you don't get the trophies, network play, all that kind of stuff that's up-res, all that fanciness,
Hmm.
but you still get that core game for half the price.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I
and granted, that means you have a PS2 laying around. But
That's true. I mean, I guess it's for people who don't have a PS2. I still think it's still like a weird price point. I think it's just a weird price point, especially with that Star Wars like the Super Nintendo game that came out for $10. Like they're doing something weird with these classic prices. I don't know. I feel like $10 is a good price point for PS2 games, but I don't know what they're doing. And it is effing ridiculous that your PS2 classics do not work on PS4. That makes no
oh yeah, yeah.
sense. Uh,
That just seems like one of those like we want you to pay for this twice,
yeah,
and you're going to pay for this twice, and if you really like this, you're gonna give us twice your money.
yeah. It feels kind of slimy. I will say though the list is really interesting. Just thinking
Yeah,
about it from like a I don't know, regardless of the price and the stuff surrounding it, the list is really strange. So okay, so GTA, Vice City, San Andreas, that makes sense. I get that.
yeah.
Those were just popular PS2 games. Really weird. They did strip a lot of the music from those.
I'm sure licensing stuff and
Yeah,
things like that. It's got to be a bitch to go through when those games are 10, 15 years old.
yeah, exactly. And all three games have music stripped from them in some way, shape, or form. Not all the music, just a few like select tracks, but
Yeah,
those are usually the tracks people like. Twisted Metal Black is another one I think kind of makes sense. Just
absolutely.
pretty popular. Now this is where it starts getting weird. Rogue Galaxy. I know they did Rogue Galaxy because that game you always see emulated on like forums and stuff. Like, hey, look at what PS2 games look like up-resed. Rogue Galaxy is always one of them.
Really?
Yeah, like that one I know they just put there because that's what a lot of people like to emulate. Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud's a weird one to bring back.
See, in my mind, Dark Cloud is like I loved Dark
Oh,
Cloud, and
really?
it was
I
such a
missed that.
cool, unique game. Oh, it's such a good game.
Hmm.
So that was the one that I saw. And went, oh damn! If I'm gonna pay $15, it's gonna be for Dark Cloud because I would love to play that. And that's a game that used you still find for PS2 is relatively expensive. It's in
Yeah,
that like $10 to $20 range, if not more. I'm thinking the couple times I've seen it.
yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get this for my PS2, I'm gonna pay the same amount I'm gonna get it for here. That's the only one that made me go, oh, but it's $15, but I really, really want it.
Yeah, yeah. That was kind of cool. And then Mark Cree was a weird one. Like that's a weird.
Yeah, I don't
Mar-
understand that one. It's a cool game, but it's a different style of game at the time, especially. But I don't know. Didn't
yeah,
seem like the big name. Like you can get Mark of Cree, and everybody went, oh. It was more like, oh, yeah, nothing
yeah.
wrong with that game.
And War of the Monsters is the final one, which is a really fun beat 'em up game. If you never played that one's that's not worth $15, but that's a good like $5 game.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but I don't know. I feel like they're gauging interest with these. Like that's the idea is they're trying to gauge these old IPs that like not
Well,
aren't super popular and trying to figure out what they're doing with them.
and now that you say that, it definitely slowly points you in a market direction.
Hmm.
You've got Grand Theft Auto, which is kind of your big name PS3 games. Are those going to be the ones that sell in this case? You've got Dark Cloud Rogue Galaxy. Is it going to be more that niche RPG group that's going to go after these? Because the
Oh,
PS2 had a lot of classic RPGs on it. You've got Mark of Cree, where it's more that more unknown action game. You've got War of the Monsters, where it's just that super cult following game. And then you've got Twisted Metal Black, which is kind of just that like, yeah, it's a classic and an extended franchise. So I feel like this almost is because it's such a widespread of games
oh, I could see
that
it.
it's which one sells the most, which types of games do we do this for that are actually going to sell.
I could see that because I think we were talking before like that like it'd be cool like I personally would like if they did a lot of niche games, but is that what sells? Is or like or they should they put the Grand Theft Autos and like the really popular ones and see if those
Yeah,
sell. Anyway, I think it's an interesting thing. We'll see how this changes over. I think enough people complain at the price point. I think it's going to change some stuff. I'm sure sales are going to be pretty fun.
yep.
Coming soon. We'll just kind of skip through these real quick. Parappa the Rapper 2 will be coming, and King of Fighters 2000. Don't have a lot to say about those. Then there's also some that were kind of leaked that they were rated for PS4, and that was Dark Cloud 2 and Ape Escape 2. So yeah, I think they are definitely trying to gauge what type of game. I think you're right in that and saying trying to gauge what type of games to sell on these services. Um, so moving further into PSX stuff, they showed off some new Ratchet and Clank gameplay. I don't know. It looks like Ratchet and Clank. It just looks really pretty, and I think I'll get that.
Yeah, that's exactly what this was. It was the same feeling I had with Uncharted. With yep, still interested.
I think
Nothing. They
yeah.
they didn't show off anything new, anything crazy. It was just like, yep, that's still a game I want.
It's really funny. I don't know if people are like super super excited for it, but I feel like everybody's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy it. Like, because it's especially like $40. Like, I don't think a lot
Yeah,
of people are putting thought into it. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna get it. It's not like,
it's Ratchet and Clank, and it looks like that. Yep, please.
yep, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And that's like all you can really. That's all you can really say about it. So yeah, I'll probably get. It. Especially it's $40, man. That's so cool. I like the. I love those like mid $40 games that they're doing. Now, getting the part, we really need to play VR one time so we can talk about these easier.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
really know. Yeah,
yeah, so PlayStation VR stuff.
they spent a good chunk of time on this too.
They spent a lot. I think they spent a lot of money on this. Is what happened.
Yeah.
So first off, they showed something that was probably not ready for the stage.
Oh god, the stupid Tron thing. I don't know what that was, but all I can say is like they're trying to make this Tron, and Tron looks much better in the '80s.
Yeah, I feel like this is like one of those things that works really well in their labs, and like they didn't really try it, test it on a stage too well. This actually what it reminded me of was those early Wii, um,
Oh yeah,
like when
where
they
it's
tried to
like, oh
play
yeah, look at this, and look at and everybody kind of went, okay,
and it's like something like just didn't work right. Like I think when they first
yep,
showed the Zelda Wii, like his like little remote just like stopped working at some
yep.
points,
Hmm.
and I just kind of felt like that. I was like, this will probably be cool in a few years, but like not really. They did
Yeah,
show us some games I thought were pretty interesting though.
there
Um,
were a couple that caught my eye, but most of them was just like, this just looks like a crappy game that is enhanced because it has a VR thing. In my mind, if this doesn't look like a game I would want to play normally, then I don't want to play it in VR. Is kind of the
oh, I
attitude I
could see
took
that.
with these.
Hmm.
Like Modern Zombie Taxi Company.
I
I
thought that
don't know
looked.
what the that looks so ridiculous that it's like I could not picture myself playing this. So why would I picture myself buying a yet to be priced multiple $100 headset to play this game?
I agree. I agree with that. That actually, I really like the modern zombie taxi company thing. I thought that was really fun. It just looked like crazy. It looked like a. It
Do
looked like a.
not insult Crazy
It
Taxi
looked
like
like
that.
Crazy Taxi.
Do not insult Crazy
It didn't
Taxi.
look as. It didn't look as like clean as. I don't know if clean because there's a lot of like physics funniness to it, which I
Yeah.
guess was part of the game that it had. I didn't really like, but I don't know. Just driving zombies around town seemed kind of fun. Um, Eagle Flight was another one. Eagle Flight, like to me, when I saw it, people have been saying this online too. Is I saw, I was like, ooh, Unity must have been really expensive, and they just need to make up some of those costs.
That's exactly what I thought too. It's like, okay, so you're telling me that now I can be a bird and fly through the boring Assassin's Creed environments.
Yeah, like yeah, that's what that was. I mean, it looks neat. Like I think being an eagle, I think that'd be kind of one of those like, hey, here's VR. Why don't you check out VR? Look, you're an
Yeah.
eagle and you're flying. Like I
It's a
get
good
it.
tech demo esque thing. That initial like you bought a VR thing and this will show people that it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just, and I feel like this was like kind of like Ubisoft, like kind of like just really dipping their toes in and not like, well, here's like $1 million or so. Go make us a game.
Yeah.
Don't spend too much though. Use whatever assets you need from other games.
Nothing new.
No. This announcement I thought was super super cool because I recognized it as such. So when they announced this next game, they had a countdown. I was like 3, 2,
Oh yeah.
1. And as soon as actually the 3 and the 2 came up, I was like, why does that sound? Oh shit, it's Res. So Res was announced for VR. I really like Res a lot, and Res was actually the Res HD was a Xbox exclusive. So I
Was
never
it?
actually got to play HD Res,
Huh.
but Res is super cool. Have you played that?
No, it's one of those games that I need to, but I've played enough games like it to know that I would thoroughly enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, just so you know, a lot of these games too, as Res was the one I know specifically. They had mentioned that they don't require VR.
Yeah.
So I thought
But
that was
then again, and that's my thing with this, is most of these games I wouldn't play without VR. Like I would never touch Eagle Flight, Modern Zombie Taxi Company, Simulator. Like I would never touch these if it didn't have a VR element to it. So why would I touch it if it has a VR element?
Oh, I get, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they seem like one of those kind of like smaller games like you'd pick up. They are like tech demos. I think this is like one of those things that'll be cool in a few years. But for
Yep,
now, you're gonna get a lot of tech demo stuff and a lot of just companies not sure how much they should spend on VR.
yep,
And
absolutely.
yeah, I think Oculus is actually the one who's those Oculus games look pretty cool. These look kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
So before I get to the cool games, last one is Psychonauts. We'll talk about Psychonauts for the Game Awards thing. I don't want to talk about that now. But they're going to do a Psychonauts VR, Job Simulator, and then here was like these last 3 games were pretty effing cool.
Yeah, these were the three that I was like, oh damn it. Yeah, that Golem game or
Yeah.
Golem, I have no clue what the hell that was, but that looked way too arty to be a VR game.
Yeah, like I don't. There's something really weird about the tone of that trailer. Like I don't know what it was, but it gave me like vibes like classic Final Fantasy or something. I know it's not. I know it's just. I'm sure it's just like an action adventure game or something like
You
that.
walk through and smash stuff is kind of what I'm assuming, but the way they presented it made it feel much bigger than that.
Yeah, and like I don't know, just the concept. I think you're like a blind girl, like just sitting in her hut, controlling some like giant golem thing that's like exploring ruins and stuff. I don't know. It's just like really. I think that was one of those ones. I think people went like, "Whoa, what is this?
What is
This
this
is cool."
about? Why aren't we spending more time on this?
Yeah, we
Why
didn't.
did you just talk about Job Simulator? Talk about this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they didn't talk about it or anything. They just said it's coming. Like I don't think they said anything about it really.
Yeah. Well, they made lots of hilarious jokes in between all these short little announcements that were
Yeah.
like painfully bad.
I muted, so I don't know what they said.
That was probably the best idea. I can tell you what this next game they said after the trailer. The game is called 100-Foot Robot Golf, and they went, "Huh? Wonder where that name came from."
Yeah. Okay, this one looked. This one was cool. Like
I want this game.
everybody
I will
wants
buy
this.
this game.
I feel like I don't really like super silly games like the goat simulators and stuff like this. I don't know, but 100-foot robot golf, it struck a
It
chord
was
with
just like
me.
robots tackling each other with golf clubs, and then you hit a golf ball, and then you just go run over a building or something. I have no clue what
But
the hell this is.
yeah,
Like, is this a golf game? Is this just like me running? I don't know, but I want to play it.
yeah, it looked like a giant robot golf slash fighting game,
Yeah,
which looked cool. Ace Combat's. We talked about this last podcast. Ace Combat 7 was announced. Cool trailer.
yeah, real cool trailer. Was this VR exclusive? I don't remember.
I don't think this is going to be VR exclusive.
I would not play this on VR.
Why? This was like I would absolutely love to play this on
I feel
VR.
I feel like it would give me like motion sickness with as quick as it moves. Like I don't know. Again, I think this comes from one of those things of like how much have we haven't touched VR yet.
Yeah,
But I just feel like quick moving things like that close to my face would make me feel sick.
I
I
can
don't know.
understand that.
But and again, I just feel like with games like Ace Combat where there's a lot of intricate movements, there's lots of moving parts with it. I don't feel like that's really what VR is going to be best for. I do like the idea of flying an airplane VR. I mean, flight simulators have been huge with those types of things for forever.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I'm curious. It's one of those games that I would probably play with the controller first and then throw on the goggles. In my mind, a lot of this is a huge tangent here. Child of Eden
yeah. Oh yeah,
was
for sure.
one of the first big Connect games, like Connect based games.
Yeah,
And in my mind, this is my issue with VR, is I bought that game because I was like, whoa, this is a cool Connect game. I played it for 10 minutes with Connect, went, this is weird. Grabbed the controller, went, ooh, this is fun. Played through the entire damn game with the controller and
yeah.
never touched the Connect again. And I feel like that's what I'm going to do with Ace Combat, is I'm going to put on my VR goggles, go, whoa, I'm in an air, whoa, this is kind of crazy. Okay. Oh, I can play this without the stupid goggles? Okay, cool.
Yeah. This is one of
And
those things.
that's my issue with VR.
Yeah, I feel it's like one of those things. Like we definitely need to get VR goggles on, so it'd be better to talk about because I don't think either of us are like super excited for it. I am interested, but if I'm choosing, like literally, I think what's going to happen. I think NX is going to come out
Damn it.
and
That was
more.
going to be my next question, is next holiday season,
Yeah.
probably September-ish or maybe a little early depending on NX production orders that may or may not be happening.
Mm-hmm.
You have $300. Do you buy an NX or do you buy a PlayStation VR? And the question, hands down, is an NX.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends. We need to see NX. NX as an idea has me excited. We're gonna have to.
But that was my whole thing with this, is I'm not going to buy this. NX comes out. If I have to pick between the two, that's an easy choice.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think. Yeah, I didn't even think about it until I just said that because I was like, oh, when's this coming out? Oh, NX is coming out soon too. Yeah, NX might tank Morpheus. I could see that. Although I could also see like Morpheus being sold to a bunch of people like, I don't want to play any Mario games. I don't want to play baby games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nintendo still has that reputation. And even if NX comes out blazing like we both are expecting,
expecting and
I
hoping.
don't think that's going to be enough to convert people over right away.
Yeah. I mean, they screwed up with Wii. They screwed up pretty bad with Wii U.
Yep.
So we'll see. Next game that was announced was Hob.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't really feel this one. I don't know.
Same.
It's like a isometric platformer game.
Just looked like a game.
Yeah, it looked neat. This one's weird. This one, I feel like if I was a fan of the series, this would be the best thing ever.
See, and to me, this makes more sense as a show closer, because we talked about before where PSX is much more for these kind of niche games.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
this to me feels like a PSX closer. And Nino no Kuni 2 it's one of those, I feel like games for people who like JRPGs, love this game.
Yeah.
I like JRPGs, and I put maybe 8 or 9 hours to this, and my hard drive crashed. And I went,
Oh.
well, guess I'm never finishing that.
I
Because I didn't
tried.
want to put the 8 hours back
Yeah, I tried playing it recently, and it just felt like too slow. I couldn't get to the intro. The intro was like just too slow for me. I think I played like maybe 2 or 3 hours, and like I just got to the like other world, and I was just like,
in.
I'm
Yep.
just not feeling it. Like I liked how it looked. I just felt like it was too kiddie. Like I love Ghibli movies too. Like Spirit Away is like my favorite movie. It's like definitely one of my top three favorite movies. I just felt like this was kind of like I don't know. It felt like a little too childish, if that makes sense. This one looks. I mean, this one looks kind of cool. Weird thing though, Studio Ghibli's name is not on it.
Yeah, it sounds like they're not involved at all, which,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you get them to start the IP and then go, get the hell out of here. We're not giving you your cut this time.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that Studio Ghibli being not on this was entirely Studio Ghibli's idea. I can't imagine it sold enough to justify the amount of cutscenes they did for that game.
That's probably very true.
Yeah.
Considering I think I bought it like a year after it came out for $5.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I was actually really just surprised that it was coming out. I thought when they said it like a new level 5, I was expecting Dark Cloud 3 or something. Nino Kuni 2 was like, well, what? So just kind of wrap up the PSX, they ended on
This was a terrible ending.
this was
Dear
not a good
God.
ending, especially because I was still expecting.
Crash, or you're expecting something huge, and
Yeah.
especially when they announced, here's Epic Games. I went, ooh, they're gonna close this with a new Epic game. Okay, what are we getting? Are we getting like new Unreal Tournament? Are we getting like and like the Crash thing you had mentioned to me? I'm like, there's no way they let Epic touch Crash. That doesn't make sense. But like I'm
Yeah.
thinking like Unreal Tournament. Like, are you bringing back Bulletstorm? Although I don't know if they have the IP for that or if that's somebody else. But there's so many ways this could have gone, and they're like, oh yeah, we like MOBAs, and I went, screw this.
Yeah. Oh my god. When I said mobile, it's actually really interesting. The trailer is not good. They released a gameplay. I sent this to Brad afterwards too. Like they sent a gameplay, like PSX gameplay. The game actually looks pretty cool. Like way cooler than the trailer. Um, I don't know. It just looks really pretty. It looks kind of neat. Doesn't look like your standard MOBA. I don't think it was a game to end on, but I think it was just a really bad trailer. On top of not a great ending.
Yeah, the only thing I could see where this makes sense is you try and finally get some of the MOBA crowd over to or over to consoles, because I feel like none of those, the big ones, aren't on there. And I think this was Sony's kind of way of going like, we're gonna be that console now.
Sort of, but there's a lot of these mobile games coming because there's like Battleborn, then there's
Yep,
that Blizzard game, and then there's an Xbox exclusive game I can't remember, and then there's this one. I don't know. It's just like
I don't like them, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, I don't like them. It's just a weird one to end on. Yeah, Nino Kuni 2. Actually, I do agree with you. Probably would have been a better thing to end on because they'd be like, whoa, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
So I think that's going to kind of wrap up our thoughts on PSX. It was an okay show. I think it was just like way, way, way too front loaded. And that Crash Bandicoot, like literally Uncharted 4 looks amazing. Crash Bandicoot shirt followed by Final Fantasy 7. You set up some crazy expectations.
yeah. It's like E3 where they were just like, people loved it when we front loaded the hell out of this thing, but E3 the they had the content to deliver for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
This felt like, okay, we'll front load it like crazy again. Like that worked really well last time, and it was we front loaded it and we just tuckered out way too quick.
Yeah. That's true. And it was a bunch of cool little announcements, but like really if you aren't a part of those crowds that like those games, it kind of just like, oh, okay.
Yep, cool.
Yeah. So Game
Game
Awards.
Awards.
Yes. General thoughts on the game. I'm going to start with how did you like it compared to last year, and how do you like it compared to like VGAs?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch much of it.
No,
I kind of I
Brad.
clicked through it. Well, I watched all the world exclusive trailers, and then like I clicked through for like the couple of moments that like I knew I needed, like the Iwata tribute, Jeff talking
Mhm.
about Konami, which we'll talk about all that later. But like I
Yeah.
kind of clicked through that, but just looking through it, it seemed really classy, which I liked. And we talked
Yeah.
about this last week, like we wanted a more adult style award show, and that's what this felt like. I like that
Mhm.
they had video game style celebrities come out. I think one of the few actual award presentations that I actually bothered to like watch, they had the voice who plays Laura Croft in Tomb Raider come out. Like
Mhm.
those are the type of people who should be featured in this, and I like that it's not just like, and here's Bradley Cooper to announce best multi. Why is Bradley Cooper at a video game award show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. I like that. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was. I think that yeah, the bare minimum it did meet that it feels more adult because everybody when they did jokes like people were in suits like they weren't like well not the Witcher 3 guy. The Witcher 3 guy was just like the Witcher 3 guy. Witcher 3 guy was in a Witcher was just like in a Witcher t-shirt and cargo shorts. But whatever. If he wants to
Hey,
dress like that, that's fine.
he
Um,
thought it was still on Spike. It's all good.
but I just thought I thought the show was pretty good. I don't think that the world exclusives were super interesting. There's a lot of indie game stuff. Um,
But again, this is still such a new thing that I feel like
mhm.
it'd be hard for somebody like EA to go, we are going to announce our next big franchise at the Game Awards. When
Yeah,
in their mind, I think a lot of people are still in our mindset of either A, this thing is brand new so people don't know as much about it, or B, people know about it and all they can think back to is Spike Game Awards.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. I can especially see that if I'm a marketing guy and I have to spend so many X amount of dollars to get a
Exactly.
trailer to them, is it worth the money to us to put a trailer there? Yeah, I could see that. I think they're doing better. I just when you look at the crowd shots in there, like they really only had like the first like 30 rows filled with people. Like the rest of the theater was like completely empty. So I was like, what do they do? Maybe it's just because it's an online show that they're doing this. I didn't quite understand what they were doing. Um,
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those interesting things where I'm curious to see where it is in 5 years. I think going with the expectation of this is year two, and I don't know how much still that like Jeff does himself with this.
Jeff does everything with it.
And again, and I think that's like the big thing with this is like pretty much a one man show.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you put it in that context of imagine one person trying to put on the Oscars, it's not going to be the
I could.
Oscars.
I never thought about it like that. That's true. Like when they're like sponsored by, like their main sponsor, I have never heard of. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that too. I actually googled it because I was like, "Who the hell is this? And how did they get their name on something this big?" And then in my mind, I'm going, "This isn't something that big. This is
Which
having
is
a
hard.
banner ad on Kotaku."
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree that like yeah, now that you put it that way, this guy did a very good job for trying to put on the Oscars himself.
Exactly. And I think if you look through it that lens, this is crazy impressive.
Yeah.
If you look through it as this is the video game Oscars, maybe 5, 10 years from now it is. And I could totally see that because I think it's trending that way. And
Yeah.
the way that he's doing it is such a professional way that I think it will bring in the right type of people who want to make this into that. As opposed to what Spike did, where I think the Spike one started off okay, and then it was just like, let's jam as much Call of Duty and Doritos and Mountain Dew into this as we can.
Yeah, and then that's like
And then
yeah,
it
they're like the Jersey Shore guys and just a bunch of
yeah,
other yeah.
I think it's a matter of getting the right people interested in this. And I think the way that he's going about this, he's making those people interested so that those people can come on and slowly help this build to something where it's something big and cool.
Yeah. I think too there's just not that celebrity like even like the most famous game developer is not even as famous as like a C-list actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
so it's kind of hard to just get that money behind it.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it was pretty cool. They we talked about this before. They showed a new Uncharted 4 trailer. They showed an extended trailer PSX. I think we kind of talked about that already.
Yep.
Looked
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool. Sony kind of threw him a bone, which is nice.
Yep.
Um, next one, Shaquille O'Neal came out. I didn't even listen to his speech. I really didn't. I muted at that point. I was like, oh god. And
You don't like Shaq?
I don't mind Shaq. I don't like. Did
I
you?
love Shaq.
Did you watch his speech or no? Or
No, I just told you I didn't watch it.
yeah, I was like, and then he's the whole joke with Shaq Fu. If you don't know what Shaq Fu is, which is like not, even people who know this is a joke barely know what Shaq Fu is.
Yeah, yep.
Shaq Fu was a crappy Sega Genesis game that nobody played, and it wasn't even like a big joke until like fairly recently. They're like, oh crap, how bad this game is. So then he's like, oh, we're gonna do it right this time. So he wrote show this like racist isn't the right word,
It
but
was close. It
it
was
was
close.
close. It was definitely like I don't know about this. And
That's slightly uncomfortable.
yeah, and then he showed this. It just looked like a crappy. It looked like every beat 'em up you see on PSN. Like
Yep.
I'm sure it's gonna be fine, but it didn't look
Well,
great.
that's all. That's all it's gonna be. It's just gonna be that, but it has Shaq in it.
Yeah, and I felt bad for him because it was like right after. I think it was like nearer after they had shown Uncharted 4. Just like this isn't this isn't gonna be good.
Yep.
Also showed off Far Cry Primal. I got me less excited. There's been some Far Cry Primal gameplay showing up, and I don't know, not feeling it.
Yeah, and I mean, I was never overly pumped about this game to begin with, and
Mhm.
I'm still not. It is what it is,
Yeah,
and I'll be curious to see what it turns out to be at the end. But for right now, it's Far Cry in prehistoric times without dinosaurs.
It's weird because I was seeing the gameplay and it still has all the weird UI stuff of like triangles over like enemies, like highlighted enemies, like, oh, you picked up this. Here, go to these objectives. Like it had like a
Which doesn't make sense in this case. Like
no,
those things, triangles above things don't exist in this year.
no. It just like it barely made sense for Far Cry, and it's like it just makes no sense here.
Yeah.
So I'm not super excited about that. Okay, this next. So I saw the Game Awards live, and I was kind of like, okay, I wasn't really expecting anything big, and this is not that big. This is kind of like
No, it's
some
not.
of the PSX announcements where you're talking about like, oh, these might be big deal to some people. There's not a big deal, like Nino Kuni
Th- th-
2.
yeah, exactly.
This is my Shenmue 3. I did. I didn't get Shenmue 3 excitement. I was like, okay, sure, it's Shenmue 3, sure, that's kind of neat for people who like Shenmue. So the trailer, I just want to talk about the trailer. So I'm watching this live, and you see like the trailer starts with like this commander looking at this big board, like this kind of like a map of something, and it's something's going on, but like he's like, we need to send the army. He's like, sir, there's mines around it. We can't send anybody in. And he's like, oh, we need to send in this. Like, oh, we can't do that. And then the last thing he says, like, oh, we need to send in like drop troops. And he says, sir, there are dirty bombs hovering around the island, and they're controlled by a girl who's in a coma who thinks she's herding sheep. And I actually thought that was a Metal Gear Solid joke.
It kind of sounds like it sounds very much like one.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's kind of a fun Metal Gear Solid joke. And he goes like, then he turns around and goes, send in the Psychonauts. And like my jaw literally dropped. I was like, you've got to be shitting me. And then like they showed, oh god, I can't remember the character names. Oh god, I can't
In my
remember.
mind, it was all of them, but I'd never actually played the game. It's all the ones that like you see in pictures from the games.
Yeah, like they all four dropped down. I was like, this. Actually, when I saw all four drop down, I was like, oh crap, this better not be a MOBA. But then, so I was like, holy crap, they're doing Psycho, and it said Psychonauts 2. I was like, holy shit, they're doing Psychonauts 2. So I was about as excited as anybody was for that Shenmue 3 announcement. And then they're like, we're gonna kickstart it. I was like, God damn it!
Of course they are.
It's just, uh, uh,
Well, then didn't they announce that like, yeah, we only need this much, and once we hit that much, Double Fine's going to throw in like this much. So we have to probably seek a couple other people. I like that they were kind of upfront with like, we just need this much from you guys,
yeah,
which is much better to me than Shenmue 3, where it's like, we need this much from you guys, and probably a lot more from other people that we're not going to mention. But this
yeah.
was very much like, once we hit our, I think it's like, what, like 3.5?
Mm,
And once we hit our 3.5, I think they were like even specific with it. I think they said Double Fine's going to kick in 10, somebody else is going to kick in this.
yeah.
And I just like that they were upfront with it. And it completely eliminated all of my issues I had with Shenmue 3, where it's like, this is happening if you pay for it, and also probably somebody else is going to pay for it, but we're not going to mention that right now.
Yeah, I like that. There's no stretch goals for it. It's just the 3.3 million. Like they're saying like we'll make the game with 3.3 million because there's so many people putting stuff in. Actually, one of the interesting thing is a large portion of it is from a single investor who's
Yeah,
it's like it's a person. It's not like a
yeah,
company. It's a single person who does not want to be named. It's
yeah.
like
Well, I
what
know,
the
what
hell?
was the guy, the Minecraft guy?
It's not him.
No, but that was like everybody's initial thought. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's that guy. He just sold his stuff for billions of dollars, and why not? Why wouldn't it be him?
Yeah, and then it turned out not to be him. It's like, okay, so there's just some mystical person with millions of dollars. I like to think that maybe it's just some like I don't know, some like stockbroker kid who likes Psychonauts. It's like, well, I just made
Called up
millions.
Tim Schafer and was just like, hey,
Yeah, hey,
you get this much for Kickstarter, I'll match it, and then
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just thought it was I was really cool. More exciting news like that they showed a trailer later that was just like the people who are going to be involved with it. So the original writer's back, and people are like, "Oh, okay, it's the original writer. He works at Valve currently." Eric Walpow, doesn't matter. So people, so
remember how you just said like video game celebrities aren't like a huge deal, people don't know anybody. That's why, because he's like, doesn't matter.
well, it's not like
Nobody's gonna say it's that. It's that. Oh gosh, who's that director? It's that Quentin it doesn't matter.
well, to be fair, like I don't care about Quentin Tarantino. I like Quentin Tarantino's movies. So
Fair.
so the writer of the original Psychonauts is currently working at Valve, and there's actually in the video they show Gabe, and like he's standing next to Gabe with like a really sad face, and then Gabe's like he can do it. uh, so the guy who is the original writer for Psychonauts is the guy who wrote Portal 2.
Oh, that's fancy.
Yeah, so the Portal 2 writer is going to be writing Psychonauts 2. So cool. It might actually meet its goal. It's already gotten halfway through. It's already got like 1.5 million, maybe 2 million by now. So
I'm sure it
it's
will.
probably gonna. I might actually crowdfund this. I'll throw my $20 in. Why not? Sure.
You're going to eventually anyway.
Yeah. So kind of a somber moment. They did an Awada tribute, which was super classy, minus the Pearl Jam, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool to do, and it's one of those things where, again, that more adult feeling to it.
hmm
It wasn't done in a like crazy tacky way where you got some dude in a t-shirt like, man, this dude was crazy, and you don't know him. Like, it was like, no, this is super super classy and well
hmm
done. And Reggie gave like a little speech about it, which was really well done.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a very good moment, I think, and really kind of again took it to something where it's like, okay, eventually this could be something good,
Yeah.
or not, or could be something big and good.
Yeah. I agree. I don't have a lot to say about it. I thought it was a pretty nice, very classy. Um, so going from that to the not it's not classy, but
It,
so so Metal Gear Solid 5 won a few awards. And actually this is kind of so let's just get to the start of like the Konami trolling. So Metal Gear Solid 5 won a few awards, I think, for like best soundtrack, best action adventure game. Kiefer Sutherland accepted the award on behalf of Kojima, not Konami. Like he made it very
oh,
specific.
really? I
Yeah,
I missed that.
yeah, he made it very specific that he was accepting the award on Kojima, and
Yeah.
so so then instead of just letting it slide and be like, why isn't Kojima here? That's weird. We'll probably find out about that later. On air, Geoff Keighley, who's actually a really good friend of Kojima, they always did a lot. They actually announced Phantom Pain together. He on air says, Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight, but unfortunately, he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept any awards due to his lingering employment contract with the company.
The weirdest part about this is you could tell that he felt like so awkward doing this because it was like, I mean, he's a great public speaker. He's been doing this stuff for forever,
Yeah.
and this whole thing is like, yeah, Mr. Kojima had every intention of traveling to be with us tonight, but
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
like it was one of those things where it's like you knew he like wanted to bring this up and point out why this was happening, but at the same time, it was like, oh God, what am I doing? Like, I don't know how to approach this, like, without just going, these bastards.
Yeah. It's really hard to say like these bastards still keep a like a professional attitude and like maybe I'll be working with Konami in the future on something. You don't know. Like you just don't want to burn your bridges, but he clearly just
Yeah, exactly.
he Molotov cocktailed a bridge on this one.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
and then Jade Raymond was reading like a card. This is like also Jade Raymond was giving a speech. I know she was presenting an award, and they just had like one of those awkward jokes, and the awkward joke was something around the lines of, "Would it?" It's like it's something. She's giving the character award, and it was along the lines of, "Yeah, good thing we have these like characters. It'd be so weird if somebody else played Solid Snake other than David Hayter." It's like
About that.
like Kiefer Sutherland was there. It's just like, oh
Yeah.
damn. People are mad at her. I was like, I don't think she wrote that joke, guys. She read it off a teleprompter. Give her a break.
Yeah.
Um, so that was kind of interesting. More new Walking Dead game. You played season 2. Are you excited?
I just like Telltale games, so I'm excited just because it's another Walking Dead game. I talked about season 2 a couple episodes ago, and I just
Mm-hmm.
think it's probably something I'll get when it's all done, just because I felt like that worked much better for season 2. So I don't know. I think I'm just much more in the mindset of I want to buy these all at once at this point, but it'll be cool. I don't know how I feel about bringing in an already established character who already has established motivations and thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Clementine and Lee were both very newly developed characters who didn't really have a whole backstory behind them. We already know the story of Michonne if you've read the comics or watched the TV show. So in terms of playing her and making these decisions, it kind of takes it from that you're making your choices to the you're making choices for this character, which I don't know. I'd still play it. I'm excited. It looks cool.
yeah. I feel like with The Walking Dead too, like there's that sort of like, oh my god, is my character going to die? But this one's like, well, she can't die.
No,
So
no, not gonna happen.
yeah, it kind of kills that. Probably would have been a lot cooler actually a few years ago. I think.
Yeah, kind of towards the beginning of the Walking Dead phase.
Yeah, like maybe this was how
I
they.
think
Hmm?
we were gonna say the same thing. This would have been good to preempt season one with. Is
Yeah,
that kind of what you're gonna say? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Weird announcement. There's gonna be a Telltale Batman game. Okay.
No thanks.
Yeah. I mean, they just announced a Marvel game too. Telltale's making too many goddamn games. Too many games.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't know. I don't want these actiony games. It works well for a more like slow paced thing. I don't know if I want Telltale Batman. I don't think I want it.
Yeah, I want
I'm
to.
sure I'll play it, but I don't think I want it.
Arkham Asylum was pretty cool. It's fun, like beating the crap out of people as Batman. I don't know how. I don't know. I feel like we were talking earlier. Like Hellblazer would have been kind of a cool one, where it's like a talkie comic, but without a lot
Yeah.
of action, it's kind of like, okay.
Mm,
Rocket League was announced for Xbox One. It will not feature crossplay between PC and PS4. So the PS4 version, you can actually play people who are currently playing on PC. The Xbox One will only play with Xbox One people, which is a bad idea. I did was kind of cool. They had the Warthog. I thought that was kind of neat.
yeah. Yep. Nice little exclusive thing there, but yep. More Rocket League. More Rocket League's always good.
Yep. Rock Band VR.
Nope.
Yeah, not a lot. Shadow Complex Remaster was released. I've heard that game's really cool, so I'm glad it's coming to PS4. So
Yeah, that's one I've always been interested in, and just never actually sat down and got.
yeah, I heard it's like I heard it's like one of the better Metroidvania games to come out in a long time. People actually did compare it to like Super Metroid, so I was like, okay, I mean, I'll give it a shot. Why not? Mortal Kombat DLC. You're gonna have Xenomorph, Leatherface, Bochai Rai, and Triborg.
Great.
Great. Sorry, we're going.
And
A lot of these announcements, I feel like we should just say, but they're kind of like, huh, okay. I feel like Xenomorph would have been a lot. Again, these are like things I think would have been cooler like a few years ago or a few months ago or something like that. But it's just now it's like, okay, yeah,
yep, I've played MKX for 8 or 9 months now. It's still fun.
yeah.
I
Quantum
don't know if I
Break,
want to pay for more characters.
yeah. Quantum Break showed us some stuff. More Quantum Break.
My favorite part of this was the way that they just like announced this because that actor is completely unrecognizable, and they just started with the star of Quantum Break, and also he's Iceman.
Oh,
Like
I
that
didn't
was like what
realize
the
that.
voiceover said, and it's just like that's the only reason this guy's in this game is so you can keep referencing X Men, so people go, "Ooh, it's the guy from X Men."
Oh my god! But he's not even like the guy from X Men. He's like the minor character in X Men.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's I think he's a main character in X Men 3, which is the X Men you're not supposed to watch.
Oh, that's true. And he was kind of a big character in X Men 1, I guess, but those came out a while ago. He's not like a big actor. That wasn't like a good get. That was like, oh, hey, that guy's not doing anything.
He's available. Cool. Bring him
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, sounds good. So talking about some of the awards, I think we're just gonna kind of cover some of the awards that I thought were interesting. I'm mad about this one, so I'm gonna start with this one. Art direction
Yeah,
should have gone to Bloodborne.
I'll agree with that, and
I
especially it went to Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a very small indie game.
looks cool. Looks
But
cool.
compare that with like the epicness of Bloodborne and how creative they got with that, it doesn't make any sense.
I yeah.
It feels
Or
like you just had somebody way too arty casting votes. It's like,
I mhm.
it's art direction. You have to give it to this cool little art game.
I also feel like a lot of people didn't get to the cool parts of Bloodborne. Like Bloodborne, I would say like the first few hours, like you don't really get a sense of how weird and crazy looking that game can get. So, I mean, Bloodborne didn't win any awards, like at all.
That is a little shocking.
Yeah, I don't know if it's shocking or not because if you got a group of 100 people and ask them, what do you think game of the year is going to be? It's going to be the one they all got through the most.
But at the same time, like, who are you? You're not talking to normal people. These are, in theory, like game industry veteran type. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like saying like, oh, well, if you ask 100 random people what their favorite movie from this year is, they're gonna say Avengers, not whatever a random art movie won Best Picture at the Oscars.
yeah.
You know, you're asking the people who have, in theory, played the most games, who have, in theory, have the best critical opinion of these things, versus 100 random people. 100 random people, yeah, there's no way in hell Bloodborne wins.
Yeah.
100 game critics, I feel like it should have been represented somewhere in here.
But I'd say even among, I mean, like you play a lot of games, and even you don't like Bloodborne too much. So
Yeah,
I can
but
see why. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like to really appreciate the art direction of that game requires you to get pretty far in that game. And like if you see like a lot of people who play a lot of games, it's like, nah, I'm done. But Ori and the Blind Forest, I've heard is a really good game. I'm not knocking that game at all.
yeah,
But dude, Bloodborne has some really neat characters. Like has the best character designs I've ever seen in any game. And so I felt kind of a little snub on that one. I don't know. Maybe I actually got to play Ori and the Blind Forest. I've seen videos of it and I thought it looked really pretty. I think it would have won any other year. Metal Gear Solid 5
Yeah,
was also in that for some reason.
yeah, no, that shouldn't be in our direction. That was a pretty game, but yeah, it was a very pretty game done with very basic environments of forest and desert.
Yeah, pretty much. And it wasn't even like forest, like very sparse forest.
Yeah,
Um, I thought another cool one, best shooter went to Splatoon.
yeah, that was awesome. That made me really, really happy. I love that game, and that game should win much more awards.
Yeah, that actually also won best multiplayer. I thought for sure it was going to Rocket League.
Yeah, I that see, and that's awesome to me that best multiplayer was between Splatoon and Rocket League. Not
Yeah.
Halo, not Call of Duty, not any of that stuff. It's Splatoon and Rocket League.
Yeah.
That made me really happy.
Yeah, I think people were like that was kind of funny. Like they did show Call of Duty and Halo, like, and I just knew like those aren't in the those aren't that's not going to be one of them. It's not going to be either of those. Like it's going to be yeah. I didn't think about I haven't played Splatoon, so I didn't really know. Apparently, it's very good.
It's
So
fantastic. It's amazing.
yeah. I don't know. So any of the more interesting ones you wanna that you saw in here that you're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
No, the couple that I like the Rocket League winning indie, Splatoon winning shooter and multiplayer. I think those were great choices. Yeah, no, I think they went pretty well. I don't. The only thing I thought was weird and was some of the other awards that don't really have anything to do with this. Like, there's a most anticipated award, which makes no damn sense to me. That's
Yeah.
basically saying like which game has had the best trailers this year. Like that's not a game award. That shouldn't be an award. And then they had like, and again, maybe somebody appreciates this, but esports player, best esports team, best esports game, best
the
trending
the
gamer on
trending
YouTube.
I did want to talk about this. The trending gamer, it was Greg Miller from IGN, and now he has his own podcast that I occasionally listen to. I'm not gonna give him a shout. They got plenty of people listening. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Kind of. They do PS I Love You XOXO, which I do listen to. It's pretty good. But he actually gave a really good speech, which was basically like, okay, people chose me to represent the gamer's voice, and I want to say thank you to all the devs for all the time that you put in, because we can never appreciate how much time these devs actually like put into these games and how much love and heart they put in these games. It's actually a really neat speech. That is like that was one of the best moments in the Game Awards was trending gamer, which I was like, okay, sure, whatever. He won it. Okay, that's kind of cool. It wasn't PewDiePie, so I was kind of happy. Uh,
Yeah, very.
but he gave a really good speech.
Hmm. I might
So
have to go find that.
yeah. So finally, game of the year went to The Witcher 3, and I bought The Witcher 3, and I don't think I'll be playing The Witcher 3 much.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. It was too. You know, it was like I'm starting to realize like these games that I hadn't played an open world game in a long time, and it sort of dawned on me that people really like that. It was too overwhelming. There's too much stuff all of a sudden. Like the whole map just explodes with things to do and quests to go to, and I was like, oh, I don't know about this. And I just sort of realized like it was going to be humongous time investment, and that's
Yeah.
what it kind of scared me away from. I can see why people. I honestly though, like playing like the few hours I did, I can see why people would say this game is amazing because I did like a few of the side quests, and side quests are really kind of the story is really interesting and the characters are really interesting. So I can see why it won Game of the Year. I just think like guess if you like really overwhelming open world games, yeah, that game's awesome. If you're like a little on the edge with like I don't know about these open world games, I don't know. It's definitely made for a very specific type of person. I think it's a really cool idea for games, just not for me. Blood. I don't know if Bloodborne might be my game of the year. Speaking of which, just to kind of end this podcast, I think we're actually probably going to do some sort of game of the year stuff. Our game of the
Yeah.
year, which is going to be heavily biased because we didn't play most of the games that came out this year.
Well, looking at this, I did not play Her Story. I did not play Ori and the Blind Forest. I did not play Life is Strange. I didn't play Witcher 3. I didn't play Super Mario Maker.
Yeah. So ours is gonna be kind of weird. I think we haven't quite figured out how we're gonna be doing our game of the year because I honestly like some of my game of the year stuff might not even be games that came out this year. Because
Yeah.
we both kind of we're not so much on buying like the latest and greatest games like now. A few of them we did. Brad is currently playing Until Dawn, which we will hopefully talk about.
Oh my gosh. That game.
Yeah, so we'll probably have. I would say by the end of December we'll definitely have some sort of game of the year thing. But don't. I mean, if you guys listen to our podcast, don't expect like a normal game of the year because we definitely did not get to play a lot of these games, and we'll definitely make sure to mention that when we talk about our favorite
Well,
games that
it
we played
for
this year.
sure will not be Witcher 3 since neither of us have really played that. So there you
Yeah,
go. It'll be different.
And we're not going to agree on like one game of the year because I think Bloodborne is like one of the best games ever, and Brad hates that game. So we'll try to
Uh,
figure out.
we'll actually talk about that when we do that because
Yeah.
I have thoughts on that. But anyway,
All right, so that wraps up our very long episode this week. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us at Dark. Sorry, you can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on SoundCloud, on iTunes. If you actually do want to get like real news of what we're kind of up to, follow us on Twitter. That's kind of the only place that we can really tell people about what we're doing and what our thoughts are on the podcast. And you guys tweet us at Darksliders_pod. That was the
yeah.
Darksliders podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Bye.